Hey, little buddy. Oh, hi, Papa. I think it's time you and I had the talk. Talk? Why don't you come sit down with me over here? Oh boy. You see, little buddy, I think it's time you go off on your own and use some of your cooking talents on YouTube. YouTube? But where would I go? Yes. A place far, far away from here. And I know just the place. And that's where I'll go.
You'll be on my mind. I'll be dreaming about this till the end of time. We are young, we are free.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's Christmas time and Santa is making his list. So if you are on the naughty list, after today's recipe, if you leave these for Santa, you'll definitely be on the nice list. Maybe you're on Santa's naughty list. Hey, I'm not judging, but don't worry, because I got you covered. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make some healthy, high-protein brownies. Yes, I said that all in one sentence. Healthy, high-protein brownies. They are flourless, they are eggless, they are delicious. So don't leave Santa those old chocolate chip cookies from last year. Why don't you leave him one of the brownies from this recipe today, and I guarantee you, you're going to be going from the naughty list to the nice list. Is it just me, or is Santa always in bulking season? Anyways, let's get started with the recipe. All right, we're going to start off by making our Christmas protein brownies. And obviously we need to start off with our scale, and we're going to weigh out all of our dry ingredients first. So we're going to start off by weighing out our dry ingredients. So for the purpose of our video, I'm actually going to be having them in two separate bowls. You probably can just do everything in one bowl as you're adding it. So if you are going to do that, start with the wet ingredients, but I'm just going to weigh out all the dry ingredients first. So I'm going to use the smaller bowl for that. So here I have my chocolate protein powder. You don't really need to use chocolate protein. You can actually use vanilla as well, and it'll still do the same thing, but obviously we're making chocolate brownies, so we're going to use chocolate protein. I'm going to use about between 80 and 85 grams of our whey isolate protein. So there we have 85 grams of our whey isolate protein powder. So to our dry ingredients, we're going to be adding 70 grams of our powdered peanut butter. And feel free to use any nut butter of choice. I like using this one, obviously, because it's lower in calories, higher in protein. But if you have any nut aversions or allergies, then you can always substitute it for whatever suits your dietary needs. To give it a more chocolate flavor, we're going to be adding in this low-calorie chocolate jello pudding. We're going to put 1 serving, which is equal to about 10 grams of our jello pudding mix. So we're going to add about 3 to 4 grams of baking powder. So to really give it that chocolate flavor, we're going to be adding about 25 to 30 grams of cocoa powder. And there we have 30 grams of cocoa powder. So to help sweeten it up, it depends if you really want to add this step in. You don't have to, but if you want it a little bit more sweeter, then we can add some sweetener in there. I'm going to add somewhere between 10 to 15 grams of our sweetener. All right, so that's it for our dry ingredients. What you want to do at this point is you want to kind of whisk it all together to avoid any clumping before we add that into our wet ingredients. This is why I like putting the dry ingredients in a separate bowl, so this way, to avoid any clumping, I can whisk them all together, because we're going to be adding our dry ingredients to the wet, which is what we're going to be starting with right now. So let's start by putting all the wet ingredients together. So here in this larger bowl, we're going to put all the wet ingredients. We're going to start off with my favorite. It is our pumpkin puree. We're going to use 250 grams of our pumpkin puree. And that's 252 grams. We're gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract. as part of our wet ingredient, I'm gonna mash up a banana. If you don't like bananas, or if you want to substitute it for something that's maybe a little bit lower in calorie, you can use some unsweetened applesauce, or you can also use some Greek yogurt. Probably want to use, again, the equivalent of about 120 grams worth of either the applesauce or a combination of applesauce and Greek yogurt, or a combination of all three of using part banana, applesauce, or Greek yogurt. I'm just going to use the banana. So I'm going to use a fork, mash this all up before we mix all of our ingredients together. Alright, so as you start to kind of blend the banana together, if you are going to be using a banana, you shouldn't see any large chunks. It should be pretty smooth. Again, if you want to go in the opposite direction and smash the banana first and then put the pumpkin puree, you can do that as well. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so at this point, we're going to add in our dry ingredients to the wet. I like using a soft spatula. Don't use a hand mixer or a whisk. You actually almost don't want to over mix it. So I like to just kind of like fold this all together as I'm slowly adding it in. You can see just how thick that consistency is. So I'm just gonna add about 3 small candy canes. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put them in my Ninja blender or food processor just to kind of break them up. We're gonna put some in, sprinkle some on top, and maybe even add some chocolate chips to it as well. So I'm gonna break those up. Again, you don't need to put it in a blender. You can just kind of smash them or break them up any way you like. All right, so I just kind of broke them up a little bit, and we're gonna sprinkle that on top after we put it inside of our pan. All right, so here I have a 9x9 glass dish, which we're gonna be lining with parchment paper. Parchment paper is just gonna help us to be able to lift up the brownies after they're done and avoid any cooking spray that you're gonna be using on top. Obviously, cooking spray has calories, so I'm gonna use some parchment paper to line our glass dish, so this way I can pour my batter inside. We're gonna do the 2 spatula method here. Now you just wanna kind of spread it out evenly. They're pretty good at getting all the macros in there. We spread it out nice and evenly. Now we're gonna decorate the top. So in this bowl, I have my crushed up candy canes, which we're gonna kind of sprinkle on top. And I also have these low calorie Krista chocolate chips, which again, I used in my other video. We're gonna sprinkle this on top and make it look very pretty. So I'm actually just gonna use a spoon to press down the chocolate chips into the batter. So this way when it bakes, it's gonna melt nicely inside the batter. There we go, we're ready to put it in the oven. We're gonna bake this at 350 for anywhere between 15 to 18 minutes. Check it after 15 minutes. If you feel like it needs to go a little bit more, I wouldn't go longer than 18 minutes because then it's just gonna dry out. I found the sweet spot for me in my oven is anywhere between 17 and 18 minutes. All right, so you know it's done if you stick a toothpick in the center and it comes out pretty clean. That's exactly what you want. It's pretty hot right now. We can't cut it. We're gonna let it sit in here for about anywhere between 30, 40, 45 minutes. You wanna see where it's at that point, and hopefully it's cool enough, and then we'll cut it. So I'm just gonna let that sit, as delicious as this is, and I want to just like dive into this right now. We're gonna let it cool down. All right, I'm ready for our taste test. So I'm gonna pick this one in the back. Right here. Look at that. Got some chocolate chips on top. The macros for one square is going to go up on the screen so you can see, and we're going to dive into this one right now. Look at that. Nice moist chocolate. Oh. Santa's gonna love these. That is so good. So chocolatey and moist. I love it. Here we go. Another bite. I'm going for another bite here. There it is. You can definitely taste the chocolate in there. Obviously, that is just like the prominent flavor that you're getting. But then there's that hint of the candy cane that kind of comes in on each bite. You get that minty chocolate flavor. This is a perfect, healthy, and high-protein dessert that you can have this holiday season. I hope you try it out. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my channel if you're new. I hope you have a safe and happy holiday season. My name is Lewis. This is Macro Matters, and don't leave any macro behind.